Hi everyone, and welcome back to Svetlana's Corner. My name is Svetlana and I'm a vice president of a nonprofit called We Got This, where we focus on a lot of issues such as prison reform, helping communities, and so forth. However, today I wanted to do something different. We're going to do something called the flip side. My husband is incarcerated. He actually came up with the name. And so we thought that these kind of segments is where we focus on the flip side of corrections. Basically, the goal of that is to show you the other side, the flip side, so as taxpayers, you may know where your money is going. Today, I want to talk to you about a correctional officer that is just now been charged.
I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Okay, so if you've seen this on the news, and you probably have, this is not new to you, but this is right here in Connecticut, and it happened on Sunday, September 21st. So this is only a few days later. It's still not enough information to give more content, but it's enough that people need to know exactly what kind of people are working inside the jails and the prisons, the people that are told to be the correctional officers, the examples, the great leaders of the community. These are the good guys. The criminals are the ones inside the jail. These are the ones outside the jails. These are the ones that lead by example. And honestly, there's so much corruption that I think it's not fair to only see the ones that are committing the crimes, because these officers are committing sometimes even more crimes than those that they are taking care of. So I don't know if that speaks to any of you. If it does, I hope you click on that subscribe button, because I'd love to see you in my next videos, whether it's something like that or something different. Let's go to the news. I'm gonna use my phone because this is currently news. The title of this was "Correction Officer Accused of Kidnapping 2 Kids in Newington, Leading Pursuit into Stamford." Now, I'm living in Connecticut. This is very short distance from me, so it's a little bit scary. But according to the news article, a correctional officer was arrested for assaulting his wife and kidnapping his 2 children in Newington, which led to a police pursuit into Stamford. That is according to the officials. There was a news conference that was held at 11 a.m. on Monday. So this happened on Sunday, September 21st at about 12:10 p.m. So Sunday afternoon. So according to the police, now, so this is not according to me or according to anybody else. This is according to officially the police. A 36-year-old man, a correctional officer named John Lacen-Romero, choked his wife at his own home. That's right. Isn't he a nice guy? He choked his wife. So the prosecutor said that he found an electrical cord and made it into a shape of a noose, which they believe he used to strangle his wife. Prosecutors also say his wife was locked in the garage and says that she was so afraid that she was going to die. She called the police to report the incident. After she called the police, this pillar of the community officer took his 9 and 11-year-old children in the car and took off. As they say, this progressed with physical violence towards his wife. She was choked around her neck where she had difficulty breathing. That is what he did to overpower her. He loaded the children into the car to leave the scene. Once he left the scene, the officers launched a search, and they said they found his vehicle, which led to a pursuit stretched across several towns. So during this police chase, authorities say that Lacen-Romero caused multiple crashes as he sped down Interstate 95 southbound. The situation escalated when he took exit 7 in Stamford. He crashed into another vehicle, which is what disabled his own. What followed was an 8-hour standoff near North State and Canal Street in Stamford. He barricaded himself inside his disabled vehicle with the children, which prompted a massive emergency response. Authorities said a special response team rescued the 2 children in the car in what they described as overwhelming concern. So basically, he took off on the chase. He crashed into several vehicles. Finally, his vehicle stopped because of that crash. Now his children were trapped in the car. Connecticut is experiencing a severe heat wave. They did bring a hostage negotiator to try to talk him into letting the kids out. Not only did he say no to that, but they even tried to get water to his 2 children. These are young kids. It's hot. He almost cooked his children to death. So he was barricaded in that car with his young kids, knowing that they are in a critical health situation, and he refused to even let them have that amount of water that the police were trying to pass on for 8 hours. Now the children are safe. They have been taken to the hospital and they're being evaluated. Obviously, due to many privacy reasons, we will not know about the children. And Mr. Lacen-Romero was taken into custody. Now, I want to say this is where this ends. It doesn't. They do say he does not have a criminal record. Well, no kidding. He's a correctional officer. He's law enforcement. So no, he doesn't have a criminal record. But it is said that he's stating he has mental health issues and he's been treated for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, he is a veteran, and there are veterans in my husband's family, so my family now as well. So I have utmost respect for the military. I do. However, Mr. Lacen-Romero has worked in the unit where there's segregation, which means a lot of mental health issues. He has been known to make fun of people with PTSD. He has been aggressive physically and verbally to those who claim to have mental health issues, because he said that's for the weak. That's something he would never have. So now suddenly he has mental health issues. And as a mental health professional, I never take mental health issues lightly. I just have no respect for somebody that claims that those are not real until he has them. But here's the interesting part. He has mental health issues, according to him, not just because of his military. That's not what he credits them to. He says his military, yeah, that was stressful, but his mental health issues are due to his workplace. That's right, they're due to his workplace. I talked to my husband. He said he knows his officer really well. Many people in that facility know him very well. So Mr. Lacen-Romero works in Walker McDougall. They have a segregation unit. They have a mental health unit. He is well known to, like I said, physically and verbally attack inmates. Many inmates that I've spoken to, they state that the only way they can describe this man is an a-hole to everybody, to other officers, definitely to those incarcerated, and especially to those in segregation and those with mental health concerns. He specifically targets those people. That is what those that are incarcerated say about him. That's the first thing that they said when I asked, what is he like? That's what he's known for, to be on the job, is a jerk, an asshole. Yes, I'm saying that word. I was told by several people who watched the situation that there was actually one inmate a long time ago that was going home. Whether he won his case, whether he got a commutation, whatever it was, he got his freedom, he was going home. This specific individual attacked him in his cell to stop him from going home. Because what happened is that inmate was charged with staff assault. However, what Mr. Lacen-Romero didn't realize is the camera footage was right above that and recorded all of it. So this inmate was about to be charged with staff assault. He did go to court, and they did watch the video footage. So luckily all the charges were dropped, so that's why I can't put that into this video, because, well, those charges have been dropped. They don't exist. Except this man tried to stop somebody from going home just because he wanted to be that kind of person. He's not a nice guy. This is not somebody who suddenly had a mental health crisis and snapped. There are people who do, unfortunately, snap. And I don't make that statement lightly. But he's been this person, what seems like, throughout his career. He makes it almost like his mission to target those with mental health issues, to target those that are incarcerated in segregation, knowing that they're struggling with mental health concerns. And now he's stating that the reason he almost ended the life of his wife and children is because of mental health concerns relating to his job. Okay. Well, if that wasn't adding insult to an injury, we're going to continue this. So officially, he was charged by Newington police with 2 counts of first-degree kidnapping, second-degree strangulation, 3 counts of first-degree unlawful restraint, 3 counts of first-degree reckless endangerment, 2 counts of risk of injury to a child, third-degree assault, and second-degree criminal mischief. The judge also issued restraining orders, meaning he cannot go near his wife, their children, or their home. So when this happened, he went home eventually, after he went through court and all that stuff, after the charges were read to him. He did go home, I guess not to his wife or the kids, but he did get to leave. And then that doesn't make sense to me, because for somebody else, if this was, especially a person of color, but if this was anybody else, not a correctional officer, they would have had charges and they would have been sitting behind bars. But instead, he got to leave with pay. So from my understanding, he got 2 days administrative leave, which means he got time off with pay. And it gets worse. He is back at work now. He has returned to work. So this officer that says he snapped, he almost ended the lives of his wife and kids because of how stressful his job is, has returned to work. Now, that boggles my mind. How is he allowed to go back to work? If he is struggling with mental health, if they say he can't cope with the everyday life, and especially he can't cope with the duties of his job, why is he allowed to be back at work exactly where he was? He is a correctional officer. He's correcting behaviors of those that are supposedly criminals, that bad people. He's the good guy. They are the criminals. He is law enforcement. Is this not what criminal charges sound like? But he's back at work exactly in the environment that he says he cannot handle, or he mentally should not be handling, according to him. So my big question would be for Commissioner. The Commissioner of Connecticut Department of Corrections, Angel Quiroz, he easily just put him right back to work. I mean, where's any logic in this? So the choices are, this guy gets to sit home with pay that's coming out of your tax dollars. As taxpayers, you would pay for him to sit there with pay. Or the other choice is the commissioner allows him to go back to work in that same facility and the units that he says he cannot handle. If he's facing these kind of aggressions, what do you think he's doing? How much do you think he's taking those aggressions out on those that are incarcerated, those that are struggling with mental health issues, those that need protection from a guy like this? His wife needs protection from him. His children need protection from him. The public needs protection from him. This is a exact definition of criminal. This is an evil, evil person. He should not be roaming the streets, but he should not be law enforcement at all. Nobody with those charges should be law enforcement. And our taxpayer dollars shouldn't be paying for him to be out there in public or to be working. We hear stuff on the news all the time that inmates were getting abused. They're beaten. Some of them are killed by correctional officers. And we ask ourselves, how does it happen? There's cameras. This is how it happens. Because people like that, that's who's working in those facilities. And Commissioner Quiroz doesn't care. He knows what this guy's like. Complaints have been made about this guy. I know this because I've heard the complaints. There's been court cases where obviously somebody has shown video footage to a judge of what this guy can do. That he can walk into an innocent person's cell and assault them. But that doesn't matter. That's just all part for the course. This was the point of doing the flip side, showing what the correctional officers can be like. And I'm not saying all are. They're great, great correctional officers. We always say one bad apple spoils a bunch. Well, there's a lot of bad apples. And something needs to be done about those bad apples. Mr. Lacen-Romero is facing a lot of charges. He should not be on the streets. He should not be at work. At least not at that kind of job. He should not be a correctional officer. He should have never been hired to be a correctional officer. But as soon as the first complaint came up, he should have been let go of being a correctional officer. And the fact that Commissioner Quiroz knows what this man is like and continues to employ him, continues to reward him with pay, with overtime, with raises. He's raising his pay. He's rewarding behaviors like that. Because that's what happens with really bad correctional officers. They're not always taken away from these facilities. They're promoted. Working in these units, the SRG, that security risk group, working in those units, working segregation units, is even higher pay than the regular units. This man is getting paid a lot of money by Commissioner Quiroz that's taking off the paychecks of you, the taxpayers. This is a man who says he cannot handle this job. It brings out the violent side of him. If this is what he's doing that the public is aware about, what is he doing that the public isn't aware about? What is he doing to very vulnerable people that are inside. So for anybody that says, well, who cares what happens to those criminals? You know, lock them up, throw away the key. The person holding the keys is this kind of person. This kind of correctional officer, he's not one bad apple. There's many like him in those facilities. Why aren't we putting him in those cells and throwing away the key? Why are we paying for him to await trial if he goes to trial? Why are we paying for him to be abusing people? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that all of us work hard for. And I don't want my paycheck going towards this guy. He's now going to use that money in court. He's going to use it for his public defender or a lawyer that he pays for. That's where it's coming from. Is that justice? Before we judge people that are incarcerated, yeah, there are many criminals in there. What isn't there are people like this. This correctional officer is a piece of crap. Yeah, I'm very passionate about it. It got me heated because I've heard stories and complaints for years about this man. And he finally snaps? No, he didn't snap. This is what he does when nobody's looking. He just finally got caught. But he did this to his wife and kids who will never get over it. And he's not behind bars. He's free. He's been charged, but he's walking around and working and getting your money from your wallet. When you open your wallet and you see money in there, stop and think, do you want to hand it over to a guy like this? Because that's a real criminal. He knows the law. He knows how to hide behind the law. He's using the law and he's using your money to commit crimes. That's not acceptable. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today for this video that I'm calling the flip side, because we need to not only see what happens in prison to the prisoners, but we need to see what happens with the correctional officers, with the corruption that happens inside those gates, inside those walls. When people inside need help, they aren't just criminals. They're human beings, and they're being abused and targeted by these correctional officers. And you need to know that this is happening with your help, because you vote with your money. You vote with your tax dollars. And don't vote for guys like this to be working in those places. Don't do that. Because even if you are against criminals, if you are against incarcerated people, if you believe in throwing them into the cell and throwing away the key, then throw people like this into the cell and throw away the key too. Because he's no less of a criminal than anybody else in there. The only difference is he's law enforcement. He's not punished. He's rewarded. And if we're going to be tough on crime, let's be tough on this guy. He's one of many. And I don't want to say I look forward to exposing more. I'm sad that there's more. But we need to shine a light of the fact that there is more. That these criminals are taking care of our loved ones. And if you have a loved one, do you want a guy like that to be there when your loved one is going through mental health crisis, and this is the man that responds to it? Because I know I wouldn't. I don't know what he could do. If he could do this to his wife and kids, what would he do to somebody he doesn't like? This is a dangerous man, and he needs to be behind bars. And many of these officers need to be out of those jobs. If you need to know what to do, contact Commissioner Angel Quiroz and tell him to remove people that he pays to be on the job, people that he hires. Because obviously he's not good at it. There's no way these people should have been hired. But then again, there's so many of them. He knows what these people are like. Maybe he's one of them. Because he does allow this behavior. He doesn't think it's a problem. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put him back at work. He wouldn't have put him at work to begin with. Thank you for joining me on this video. Again, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.